Hi, it's Mona in the Fatiga Behind with Coffee to your Labrish. Um, I am excited to see you guys. How are you? Once again, it's our wonderful review. I am wearing my Amazon dress. Don't watch it too tough. Um, I just decided to put that on this morning, and I am representing British Williams from Basketball Wives in her lavender that we saw last night. It was beautiful, and I am definitely intrigued by British. So we'll get there. I do want to talk about the Basketball Wives. I want to talk about um, Real Housewives of Atlanta. I want to talk about Netflix, Stay Sweet, Pray and Obey. I want to talk about Elon Musk. I want to talk about Fantastic Beasts, Dumbledore. I want to talk about, and those are the things that we'll talk about today for now, I believe. So let's start with the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Of course, I am totally. I did my episode last for a couple days ago for last week's episode, and I didn't think it was enough because I didn't touch on some things. But I realized that this week's episode was just as controversial. What I didn't touch on last week, which I am releasing the video today. What I didn't touch on last week was Marlo's handling of Kandi and Kenya and all of the shade that is coming out of Marlo Hampton in this season right now as we speak. All right. So if I'm gonna start there, I'm gonna start with the episode that we just saw. It was a really good episode. First of all, so we had the scenes with Kenya. I'm sorry, Sanya and her mom and the woman at the cooking class, and that was a cute key. It was nice. Sanya looks pretty. She looks beautiful with this hair. I like her with that brown hair with the highlights, and I like that up and down hairstyle that she's wearing now. So I do love that. The only thing that I'm missing from Sanya is like the fashions and so on and so forth. But then when I think about Sanya, Sanya is a sports athlete. She's a sports star. And so I don't expect her to be in like fashions like that. She's going to be wearing like her tracksuits and things like that because she's going to be real to herself. So I do expect to see that, and that's what I'm getting. So it's not the biggest allure for me. Even though she's Jamaican, I do love her. Marlo does come through with the fashions, and that's something that I love. I love pretty. I love girly. I love all these wonderful things. So, I am going to rock with Marlo because I've been rocking with her for over 10 years and so on, as far as like what's attractive to me on the screen and what's keeping me glued to the screen. So Sanya did let them know that she don't be playing and that she's Jamaican and we don't play certain things and we don't deal with certain things. So she just make them know that straight up. She said, I'm going to say the real Sanya where I come out and the real Sanya come out pan them. Anyway, so we're at the dinner, the class, and Drew is doing a lot of talking. I talked about it on my last review, which isn't released. I'm releasing it today because I wanted to know why Sanya went and used Drew makeup artist when you know say Sugar come say you use that makeup artist for free and all of them something they like, say, oh, them girl, I steal them, try find any little thing for throw upon you for make it look like say use a makeup or whatever. So Drew comes up and she's like, oh, Sanya is, oh, you were being friendly with me for clout. And Sanya was like, clout? I am the clout. Like, sis, I am a 3-time champion winner of whatever she won. And yeah. Damn. I was like, Sanya shut it down. She schooled her. She showed her like exactly like sis what. So then the family was like, what was Drew in? And they were like, she's in the game. Like we're Jamaican. Like we didn't like I didn't watch the game. I don't know who's in. What was the game? Like I know Lauren London. Was she in the game? I know her. And I know her a little bit more because she's Nipsey's wife and the big thing bro. So we are Jamaican. We don't like what? No. Sanya we know. Drew, who are you? Like that. Okay. Drew, you know you're a little 2-bit actress where you just come true for you cannot run up against the great Sanya Richards Rasta vibes. Don't do it. Back down, back down, back down. Anyway, so that was that. I don't think anybody's coming for Sanya like that because Sanya do have to like I think Sanya is acting outside of her character a little bit because I don't think Sanya is a warboat. And I think that they're like putting her in situation for her to be a warboat. Yes, she's standing out and standing up for herself because that's what Jamaican people do. We don't do hypocrite friendship. If friendship not working, we're gonna let you know and we're gonna tell you like right about now, something not working, like what's this not working. This basically what she's saying. It's not working, the friendship. Like we're trying to start a friendship and it's not working. I don't understand why Drew don't understand that. Like, sis, I am the one that's going to tell you, and I don't care where I tell you, this is not working. And yes, we're in this group of women, and I'm going to tell it to you straight in front of them because at the end of the day, like, it's in front of them, you be doing the acting up. When we're by ourselves, you seem like a normal, real person, but like when you get in front of these people, like you start to act different, and I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to tell you in front of them, like, I can't back you even though I want to because you ain't acting right, like, regardless. And then not only that, I came back here because I don't know these women. So I got to find my way how to learn these women and know these women to decide if I feel the way you feel about them. I'm not just going to jump in and be like, oh, I don't like so-and-so because Drew don't like so-and-so. It don't make no sense. I don't know. For some reason, it seemed like Marlo is going on one side and Sanya is on the other side. And I don't really like that because they are my two people that I'm rocking for. So I need them to be on the same side. I don't need them to be like anti and across. I need them to come together. I already told Sanya at the beginning of the season that, you know, Drew is a liar and, you know, you're going to find her out. And Sanya just take time to find out Drew and I find out Drew. And Sanya just want to take herself from Drew, which is supposed to do as she should. As she should. I'm tell you about the bump them coming on my face, some big bump coming on my face. I don't know the bump them come from. I need to go see somebody or something. I go see the doctor because I need the doctor for give me something like some medicine for like a blood cleanse or something. I got to try a blood cleanse first. And then me I go see what I go on because all of a sudden I know one time I did use one brush and the brush, I don't know if the brush is dirty, but I can't go in. Now go in, it's still there. I just can't. And it's a big bump up on my face. Anyway, so yeah, girl. So right there, so she. Anyway, you know, so me, I run down Marlo and meet up Marlo, from the front and the back, and me I ride Marlo like. Marlo Hampton. Have you heard about Marlo Hampton? Yeah, Marlo Hampton featured on Simply Buckhead for the June issue. Did you see the June issue of Simply Buckhead with Marlo Hampton in it, on it, and around it? And it's just Marlo Hampton. I'm feeling Marlo Hampton. I'm loving Marlo Hampton. So anyway, last week when we never talked about, cause you know I can't bother with the mix up and I just want to talk about the good things them. Hello. Marlo, the people them not understand Marlo. Let me tell you about Marlo. Marlo is a girl who go from nothing to something. And it no matter how much time you ask and say what Marlo does, where Marlo work, or Marlo make her money, it don't make a difference. Marlo is a hustler, babe. I'm a hustler, babe. And I want you to know, it's not about where I've been, it's where I'm about to go. I just wanna, yeah, Marlo Hampton. That's the whole vibe. That is the vibe. She's the vibe. That vibe. It don't matter where she coming from. It don't matter where she going. She going to the top. Right to the top. Yes, my bae is. So all these antis and antis and ANTI and this hive and the group and all this back and forth. I'm not trying to know back and forth. I'm just gonna show you who's gonna win. And it's going to be Marlo. Anyway, so let me tell you why. Marlo is a girl that went from nothing to something. Marlo is a girl that went through foster home, foster care, group home, whatever you name it. Marlo been through the rough and the rugged and elevate herself and go from being somebody that was on the bottom who had nothing, no foundation, and is on our screens today. Most talked about, most watched, most known, most elevated, most big up, most fashionable, most elegant, most daunting, most spectacular, yeah, magnificent, yeah, phenomenal, Marlo Hampton, world talk about, world renowned, world known, the one and only, yeah, right, that's a she, Marlo Hampton. So if me I tell about Marlo Hampton, somebody will go from nothing to something and rise up to the levels where she's at and Real Housewife of Atlanta and been rocking without the peach and holding the screen down for over a decade. Marlo Hampton does and has and will. What is there for you to tell her? It doesn't matter what she does. Look at what she's done. You know what I'm saying? It like all this talking. Like, this talking is ridiculous. Ain't nobody trying to hit it. I'm looking at my screen and I'm seeing somebody who said I went from this to that. Okay, so she's a person that you always been like, what does she do? What does she... Marlo's been doing Marlo's closet. I was in Marlo's closet like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I was in Marlo's closet when Marlo was doing her interviews in her closet and showing you what she had and what would Marlo wear and what's Marlo wearing and all that. I was there. I saw that. And I saw the elevation and I saw the beginning of the charity, the nonprofit, where she would take the girls and get them the hairs and get them the outfits and do stuff with them and carry them places and have them feel like they're somebody, if it's only just for a moment, right? So I've watched that. And I've seen that. And what I'm saying is that somebody who has done that and held that down, and then you, like, the world has been like, not like, you go girl, like, girl, you did that, girl, like, girl, you something else, girl. We've been friends for 25 years and I know you coming from nothing when you didn't have nothing. And look at you, Marlo. I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing like, why did she put the archive grand opening here, and what is she doing, and isn't it used clothes, and this, that, and the third, and oh, the clothes are ancient, and you know, whatever they're saying. And it's like, okay, but Marlo is showing you what Marlo does. And what did they do? They were like downing her business and doubting her business, and the business that take off, and the business that go on, and the business that up there, and the business now come down, cause the business they're right there. So she, yeah, you.
I made marshmallow smell myself, but the first time I made this marshmallow, it was bad, so I tried to do it again. But this time it worked out. It was fine on it, so I had to blow it out.
Who tell you to do that?
I'm sorry, Mommy.
No, you don't do that.
Sorry, Mommy.
You don't do that again. Okay?
Okay, but I'm sorry.
You're sorry, so the next time you ask me to do that for you.
But you do...
The video?
Yeah.
I would stop the video and get up and come and do that for you.
It took so long to do it.
But you didn't tell me that you wanted that, because if you came to me and said, I want this, I would have put this to the side. Or I would have told you, wait till Tajera come back because she went to go get us something. And
what's something?
I'm not telling you because I'm doing my video. This is my business. But that you don't do again.
Okay.
So we're going to do a video together of us making those. But you don't do that again. You don't do that again. Do you understand me? On your own. You do not take it yourself and go and do anything like that again.
Okay.
Without anybody there with you. Like me or Tajera. Do you understand? Huh? Do you understand? I really can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so you can go now. And don't make no more. Okay? Hey, some of these kids, they be thinking they old. Like, my son, like, he think he old. He's like, oh, I'm not old enough to answer the door now. Like, no, bruh. Like, no, sir. No, young man. You're not old enough. Go sit down. Yeah. So, back to what we were saying, because I ain't even going to tell you what homeboy did. Homeboy is on a whole nother level. But my kids have always been that. They're very independent. I can't help it. Very, very independent. Do whatever they want to do. Sustain themselves. So, hey, you know, but that he ain't going to do again. Because I believe in corporal punishment. I'll slap the fight out of him. And I don't care about man, video, YouTube, or whatever it is. I will slap the fight out of him. Because I was doing a workshop the other day, and they specifically told me that parents are allowed to spank their kids. You just cannot do like excessive punishment, excessive spanking, excessive. But the law does allow for you to spank your child. You just cannot be excessive with it. And I do believe in capital punishment because I am Jamaican and we do get whoopings back home. And believe me, your teachers whoop you, the principal whoop you, anybody whoop you. Like modern days now, 2022, you could probably fight it. But in the days of age of when I was in school, going to high school, any school, it definitely could occur. And they definitely would take their belt out and give you a whooping. And I do remember being whooped by my teachers in Jamaica. So anybody who don't, that's, we some different type of people. Anyway, so it's when they say it takes a village to raise a child. I mean, like, you could go, like, you gonna go to school and you gonna do what you're supposed to do. Pick that book up, read that book, and do what you're supposed to do, because the teacher gonna be there with the ruler or the belt to give you that whooping that you gonna get if you do not obey. So you gonna obey. You gonna obey. So anyway, moving on to back to what we're saying. So Marlo, understanding that Marlo has been through all of the things she's been through, which none of us really know what she's been through. And they put her down and they put her business down. In the first episode, it was her, around about the first episode, right? That was her grand opening for the archive. And instead of like being supportive, they were not supportive. They were talking about her and they were putting her down. And it was Kandi and Kenya. And then somebody told her about it, and she's kept it and she's held on to it. And so as the weeks have gone by, she's like lashing out, and they're like, oh, we don't understand why Marlo is not being a good friend and this and that. Okay, so go back to the first week when you was talking that bout when that woman grand opening was going on, and you could tell, because I don't know if it was Drew that told her and was like, oh, they were saying this and they were saying that, and she was like, what? And there is Drew in the middle of Kenya and Marlo, so I don't even know what's gonna happen right there, because Marlo is trying to open up to Drew. No, Marlo, go over here to Sanya. Nah, Drew. I'm serious. Like, no, Marlo. Drew is not the one. But I could see why Marlo could be a little bit attracted to Drew, because out of all of the ladies, I would say like Marlo, Sheree, Drew, Sanya, Kandi, Marlo, Sheree, Drew, Sanya, Kandi, Kenya. 6 of them, right? And like out of all of the 6 of them, like it's really the Marlo with the fashions. Like Marlo's the only one with the fashions. She brings the fashions. Sheree got she by Sheree, but she is she by Shanana Man. And it's like we don't know what she's got. So we saw like initially like Sheree did come through with fashions and everything, but I haven't seen anything this season fashion worthy to speak about for anybody on the damn screen other than Marlo. Marlo is the one that's bringing the outfits, and you're like, what? And she's like in her confessional, and she's looking beautiful and well coiffed and groomed and just looking like money. Like, yo, them can't study me, them can't step to me. And they're talking about her like her clothes. Like, don't do that, sis, because Marlo's representing what she's always represented, the fashions, and it's on a higher level than before, and you could see it. She's elevated. All right, she's taken the decade that she's been with Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she has elevated every time. And giving her the peach was the best thing that Andy could ever do. Take away what? Peach, fire, who, when, for what? For what? All right, so Marlo did come out and say something. So what she did say was that Kandi, well, first of all, they were like, Kandi, there was some weird game that Kenya was playing, and they had stuff written down, and they were supposed to write down stuff, and it was like nothing to do with anything. But then somebody was like, Kandi does oral in the bathroom. And it was like, what? And Kandi was like, what? So first of all, she was upset, but you could see the little nuances from then, and you could see the pokes and the prods and everything going on from the, the stinging of the birds and the bees and all that. Like, stinging was going on from that episode. So, of course, Kenny's been trying to figure out who said that, and everybody's been trying to figure out, like, where did that come from? And then, so Marlo comes out and she said, so last week they asked Marlo, like, who do you think wrote that note? And she's like, Kenya. Y'all know I don't talk about Kenya a lot, because Kenya's not my fave. Marlo is my fave. Kenya's never been my fave. Y'all know which fight. Like, I love Kenya when Kenya first came. Like, right now I think Kenya is going through something, and I think that she has potential to be, like, she is who she is, and she has done what she's done. But on the show, it's Marlo with the fashions, it's Marlo with the hair, it's Marlo with everything. Marlo just looks clean and well put together and just groomed. And Kenya comes across sometimes looking a little disheveled, and like she's trying but she's not really making the cut, and you know, things like that. And I'm just gonna tell you the truth, because you know me, I'm telling you the truth. Me, long breast, long titty, saggy titty, bag under eye, flat body, me mona. I tell you how it go, cause me look and me watch, and me know what I like, I know what I like to see, I know the people that I like to see too. So yeah, me same one I go sit down and talk about the people that I right. That's a she. Anyway, so we'll go through this now. And so, you know, people that might have like love Kenya because Kenya was Miss USA, and she was, you know, the model, and she's what she is and everything. And she does have her accolades, and you know, she's been acting and all that she's done. So first of all, now them say, Marla said she feel like a Kenya a top bad boy Kandi with the things what Kandi do, and what them say about Kandi. So that was a big deal. And then now she came out and said, well, you know, it's true, because Kandi been, you know, fling her body all about in the industry. And so therefore, because she fling her body all about and go from man to man in the industry, not no left, and nobody in the industry no want her. So that's why she have to date below her tax bracket, because anybody in the industry with the panar level, them no want she, because she done out. So that's what basically Marlo said. Mama Kandi never like it, so she lash out on Marlo, and she run the circuit, and I do her talk and I talk out and I talk against Marlo right now. But Marlo don't know why she mad with them. Them not understand when the season start and the things that happen and the things that occur. People don't remember that when the day in the first episode you was talking that buffalo. They don't, and then they don't know that. They don't realize that, okay, you're talking about buffalo, and then you're talking to buffalo in the confessionals, because Kandi been talking a lot of buffalo, and Kandi come out with guns blazing this season in the confessionals, giving it to people and dunning them. She had done them. She had give it to them. She met them. She lower them and slaughter them with her words them in the confessionals, so don't get it twisted. So that a go on. So I don't know who I tell Marla so she said anything about her or whatever. Some chatting a go on and some news carrying a go on. That's why Marla lick up on them like that, and them not go on like them not get it, because them a go on like them not know so them a chat when everybody a chat. Everybody. Alright, so them ask so Marla said, well, honestly, she believes say Kenya the one we're talking the things them about Kandi, and it true anyway, because Kandi I want old sketel from a long time, and she can't get no man up in the industry. So then she said Kenya not too much better anyway, because Kenya the one where I go and like say she Miss USA, and she was a modelist and this and that and everything. And when you check it out, she said she was an actress, and she wasn't an actress, she was a video vixen. You know them video girls and the video people them with girl them the big like body, and them do them body and everything, and them in the video them, and them start them career off like that. I think Lisa Milan from the Real Housewife of Dubai. That's what Lisa was doing, right? She was a video vixen, right? Because the last time me didn't know about her, she was used to depend like flyer and poster and like you know the video magazine them like vixen. I don't know if I vixen it name or the source, and them magazine that's where me remember Lisa Milan from. Unless I don't run somebody me I think about, but me think of she me I gotta dig it up and find it and tell you no, cause remember me remember that. So yeah, that's how would that be what Kandi is. One of them people that what Kenya is what Marlo has said. Kenya is upset. Everybody in an uproar. Them not like it. Marlo this, Marlo that. Man, I have no problem. Marlo, I love Marlo bad. Me love Marlo, Marlo love me. Alright, that's so sure. Anyway, so When we move from that section and now I'm going to the next section now and realize Kandi now call Marlo and tell Marlo say she have some things for her, so she bag up some clothes, so she give her the clothes them. And she called Marlo and said, Marlo, may I get the clothes them for the girls and stuff where you have for the non-profit. You know, she and Todd were doing a scene and she was bagging the clothes and Todd was like taking out the clothes and looking at them, but it wasn't like fashions, like big time fashions. It kind of looked like Kandi's maternity clothes. Didn't look like no clothes Kandi been wearing in the last 2, 3, 4 years. Them clothes look like the clothes that Kandi was wearing when she was pregnant with Ace. I'm just saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have every right to. Let me know down below if you think that the clothes that was coming up out the bag that Kandi was going to give to these girls was any type of fashions. Let me know down below and I will stand corrected. But from what I saw, I didn't see that. So, she calls Marlo and she's like, yeah, girl, you know, I have these things for the girls and this and that. Some of the stuff I've... And Marlo is like, no, I don't give the girls used fashions. We're not going to give that to them. And we just not going to do that. And, you know, Marlo was in the middle of getting her glam and everything while she telling it. So, you know, Marlo look real sophisticated and elegant and up to the time. Clean skin Marlo, shampoo, well come out, gal come right out, all these things. So... Kandi was like, what? Like, and the whole world and Twitter is like, what is Marlo talking about? Doesn't Marlo do you rent out you use fashions and this and that? Let me tell you something. I'm gonna be transparent with you. I was in the shelter, right? Yeah, I was in the shelter. So when I first came to New York some years ago, I was pregnant with Papa, who's now 6. And my daughter, the 10-year-old, the 16-year-old, and Papa was in stomach. And we ran from Florida to New York because we couldn't make it and it wasn't working and so on. And so we left and we came here and I told her before we left, like, you know, I don't know, like, but everything that's going on and so on, the things that we were experiencing, that we may have to go in the shelter. And she said, Mom, you know, let's do it because I'm ready to stop this endless cycle of suffering. So let's go. So we did. We came to New York. And when we came to New York, I had a friend. Like, so for the first thing was that I had a friend and I had 2 friends here. I don't really have many friends in New York City. I don't have many friends in New York. My friends are in Florida. I have made some friends as we've come along. But I lost some friends too. And I had 2 friends specifically when I came, 3 friends when I was coming to New York that I spoke with, and I'm like not asking them, like, so one of my friends I was supposed to stay with her. I told her we would stay with her and see how, like, maybe a week and then go in the shelter. And I had another friend, I was 7 months pregnant. She said when I come, she's gonna help me with the bags, meet me at the train station and help me with the bags because I'm bringing my whole life now. And I had another friend and she said when I get here she have a prospect for me so we could talk about something that we could work together and so on and so forth. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like excited to have my little network of 3. So when I get here, the friend I was supposed to stay with, I call her, she's like, yeah, come. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So the one who was supposed to meet me at the airport, at the train station, I call her. She's like, oh, you could make it. If I did it, you could do it. She had came to New York a couple of years before and, you know, did the same thing, but like came in and on the train or whatever with her bags and made her way. She's like, well, if I could do it, you could do it. So I'm like, what? I'm talking about like the big black bag where you buy over the swap shop at Florida, you know, the swap shop, you know, them soldier bag, the big long bag them. I have about 3 of them big long bag there, and then I have like 3 suitcase and some other bag traveling with a 7-month belly and a 10-year-old. And this woman says she's gonna meet me at the train station, and then she's like, oh, you can do it. So I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. So I'm at the train station. We get on the train. We're moving all these bags. Like, people start helping me and stuff. And then, like, we got to the train station, and we got on the train, and a man and a woman, they were like, where are you going? And I'm like, well, we were going to the Bronx, because we came in 34th Penn Station, took the train all the way up into the Bronx, where my friend lives in the Bronx. And so I'm like, we're going to the Bronx or whatever. So they're like, oh my God, no, you cannot carry those bags with this belly. Like, what? Like, they looking at me like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Like, somebody told me they were going to meet me and nobody came. And they're like, no, we got to help you. So they came and they crossed the street with me and they took my bags to the taxi stand and they helped me to get off that train with all my belongings with my child and my belly. And I went to my friend's house, the one who was supposed to stay with. So when I got there, I went in and I'm like, hey, yeah, with me and my bags and everything. And she's like, oh, yeah, and everything. And I noticed there's a woman in her living room. So I'm like, well, who's she? And she's like, oh, my pastor asked me if she could stay with me. What? What? How you gonna invite me to come stay with you and you already got somebody staying with you? Like, what like, what, where? Okay. So me, me, I'm like, put my things to the side. Me and her done talk in the room. We talking this and that. She's like, I'm like, girl, how you gonna, like, so me and her go to the room. I'm like, girl. She's like, yeah, you can stay in my room. You sleep in my bed, da-da-da-da. I'm like, yes, this is my friend from high school from Jamaica. We went to high school together in Jamaica, but, like, this one of my rebel friends. Like, she been a rebel from we was in high school, so I'm just going to tell the truth. She been a rebel. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, girl, how you gonna invite me and you got somebody staying here? Like, how did that work? Like, girl, this is the plan we've been planning, and while we've been talking and we've been on the phone, I took the train here. Like, it's like you knew I was on my way. Like, what is this? She's like, oh, well, pastor asked me if I could put her up and, let her stay here, but, I told pastor that I couldn't have, like, I didn't have that availability, but he still brought her and he left her, and then he was like, he coming back for her, and he didn't come back for her. I'm like, what? She's like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. So me and her finished talking. We talked, we went in the living room, we gonna chill out. There's somebody else staying there, so I'm not gonna lock myself away. I'm not the antisocial one. I want to know about her, and she can know about me too, but I want to know about her, because she's like, so I'm like, who are you? Like, pastor dropped you here, you're my friend's friend, like, tell me what's going on, like, who you are. And she's like, oh, yeah, and the pastor, and she's like talking to me, and I'm talking to her, and I'm like, so where in Jamaica are you from? And she's like, oh, I'm from Trelawney, and da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh, I went to school in Trelawney. I went to boarding school in Trelawney, Westwood. And she's like, oh, yeah. And she's like, well, the pastor's ex-wife used to go to Westwood. I'm like, what? Spill that tea, honey, because I need to know how it went. She's like, yeah. I'm like, so what do you and the pastor do all day? She's like, oh, we go drive here, there, and everywhere, missionarying. So I'm like, okay, does the pastor's wife know that you are driving around with him missionarying or whatever? She's like, yes, but the pastor's ex-wife used to think me and the pastor was together. And I'm like, ooh, spill that tea, honey. So she's spilling the tea, and she's spilling the tea, and it comes out that the pastor's ex-wife is my schoolmate, my classmate, my good classmate. Bruh, let me tell you something. I am so spiritually connected to everything, everywhere. That doesn't matter where I walk or where my feet carry me. I'm going to meet somebody. I'm going to see somebody. It's going to be a string that leads to something else. I am just telling you, this is how my connection is. So, spiritually. So then she goes, the ex, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, who? And she's like, yes. So I grew up in Kingston, and I lived in Portmore, St. Catherine. And I was going to Catholic school, and I was rebellious and troubled. And so they had kicked me out. And so then my parents put me in boarding school. And so in boarding school is where I was. But my stepfather used to take things from Kingston and bring it to Trelawney into my boarding school, because he worked all over the country of Jamaica, the island. And so whenever he came to that parish area, he would bring things for me, like food, money, whatever, and he would take it to her mother. And so we knew each other well, the pastor's ex-wife. Girl, I'm on Facebook right now. So She's like, oh yeah, the pastor's ex-wife. And I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy. And she tells me the name, and I'm like, oh okay, wow, this is crazy. And she's like, oh, my friend from school thought that she was cheating with her husband, and that's kind of led to their breakup of their marriage. And she's still in his life, and now currently she's in America, and he came up to America, and he's placed her in a home with my friend. So we talked and we talked and we talked and we talked, and when we talked and we were done talking, the next day I guess she told the pastor about me and that I knew his ex-wife, and he came and got her. So that was number one. So I stay with my friend. My friend is very, like, as I said, she's rebellious. She gets into a lot of arguments. She gets into a lot of arguments with people. I didn't want to stay long, so I decided, like, I'm just gonna go to the shelter, as I decided, and I need my own space, and I was 7 months pregnant. I didn't want to deal with other people's whatever, and I just wanted to be in a space, sit down, and see how I could plan the rest of the next of my life. So we went into the shelter. The third friend, she said that she had a proposition for me when I got here or whatever. I saw her like twice. She came through to visit. You know, we were in DV shelter, so we couldn't have visitors. So we met her like blocks away. And she and I hung out for a day, and I never saw her again until today. The friend who I stayed with, she also went in the shelter, and I don't like the Bronx, so I let them know that with everything that was going on in my life, I didn't want to be in the Bronx. The Bronx was unsafe to me and everything like that, and so they moved me not to the Bronx. My third friend that told me that she would meet me and help me with the bags, she lived in Brooklyn, so I used to go and visit her, like, you know, in the daytime or whatever, like when I left the shelter and everything. And then that I moved into a shelter was like tier 2, where you have your own like apartment and everything. And so I bought some TVs and some curtains, and I started fixing that place up like it was my own apartment. We were living in there like this. And that's when, you know, I started staying home. The shelter became home, and we made it home, and we stayed home until we got our apartment eventually, which is the project apartment. And we'll be here until my new career steps in, and I make enough money to get a house. Well, maybe not here, because, you know, we put in for a transfer to a different apartment, but we'll be in the projects until our tax bracket changes. Yeah. So anyway, so said all that to say this. We're in the shelter. They had some bags, big bags of clothes they would bring come. And, you know, when you first came in, they have big bags of clothes. You go through to see if you need anything. The kids need anything, like every quarter. Every quarter they would do it, like have you come in and go through, you know, these bags and everything. The clothes are new, not like in New York. They do have bags with all used clothes too, but generally, like, they try to, like, these foundations and everything and these charities, they try to give new things with tags and everything like that. And this be like Ralph Lauren or I don't know who, like, you know, different organizations, different retail stores will like donate their irregular stuff, or just donate charity to shelters and stuff like that. So that's what they do here in New York. So they would bring the bags of clothes and everything. You would go through it, you pick your clothes out. So I understand Marlo going through that in foster care, not in the shelter, in foster care, and for years, and having to go through that and having to take people's hand-me-downs, not know who's that, and she's fabulous, and not know whose stuff you're wearing, and, you know, all these things and how it makes you feel. I understand that. I understand the idea that you're not special, it doesn't matter, you're just another number. And she doesn't want her girls to feel like that, and that's the reason why she's saying she doesn't give them used things. It doesn't have anything to do with the business she does. It has to do with the feeling of worth that she's trying to build inside of these women, these young women. The upliftment, the elevation that she's trying to give to them. A feeling of you are special, you're worth something. Hey, you were good enough for somebody to give you something that was not used. You don't have to settle. You can aspire for the greatness. Yeah, you could aspire for new things, pretty things. Hey, listen, you're in a problem right now, but at the same time, you have every opportunity to be like me. And when you're like me, I'm not I'm not the type of person that's gonna give you my hand-me-downs and my used clothing. I'm gonna go out. I don't care. Me personally, I don't think it was the idea of Candy's clothes being brand clothes, designer clothes, or whatever. Look at the clothes. It wasn't nothing too great that she was giving the kids, so it wasn't nothing that they were missing. I don't think she's how can you as one person instill in these kids that they shouldn't take used things when you're only one person that's touching their lives for a moment? How about you instill in them a sense of worth that they can aspire to? That, hey, look, you too can be like me, coming from the foster home and foster care and the orphanage, and be fabulous and give fabulous things to people, fabulous new things, right? Somebody who is not going to continue the trend of what you're used to, where you're used to the bags of big clothes. I'm not going to take the bag of big clothes from you, Candy, with the used clothes and take it to the orphanage and have them go through it, because I went through that and it wasn't a pretty feeling for me. It wasn't a good feeling. It wasn't an uplifting feeling. It wasn't a positive feeling. She's entitled to that. She's entitled to feel like that. She's entitled to react like that, Marlo Hampton is. She went through that. So I don't see anything wrong with that. So I'm like, I can't do it. And then like Twitter, like you go into the hive and you like, Twitter is like the Matrix. We do, we think, we are going to, we feel like this. And I was talking to my 16-year-old, and I'm like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't really love Twitter for like certain things. Like I only want to be able to conversate with the people that I'm talking about so they get the message. Other than that, I'm not in the like, yeah, I do believe in cancel culture, some things sometimes, but not just rushing out to do that. Like, this is what we're going to do and we're going to break them down and this, that, and the third. No. So for me, it definitely was not giving, Marlo is a terrible person and Marlo needs to be fired because Marlo said this and Marlo said that. People have said far worse. Okay. And they're from Atlanta and they know each other and they've known each other many years. So if Marlo is gonna come talk what she talk, is hey, listen, find the lie. Find the lie, prove the lie, and let's move on. All right? Y'all was talking all this buffale about this woman all this time over these 10 years. About what does she do? She opened a boutique and it is going good and great at Simply Buckhead. Simply Buckhead June issue, Marlo Hampton. Check it out. Yep. Simply Buckhead is on every platform. So check out the Marlo issue, the June issue, okay? Marlo did that, and Marlo is doing that, and Marlo will continue to do that. Marlo is my babe. All right, so she retweeted me again this week. You know, I'm totally excited, guys. Follow me on Twitter. I'm not going to be, so like me and my daughter were talking, I was telling her I don't really love the Twitter thing. She's like, yeah, mommy, because the people on Twitter, you know, people don't really love Twitter like that. And I'm like, yeah, but the people are on there. She's like, yes, but they want to argue, like, it's arguing, like going back and forth. I do, you know, I don't come to Twitter to argue with nobody. I just come to talk. I don't care if I don't have no followers. I don't care if I don't have likes, retweets. My retweets should, like, thank you, British Williams. I'm about to do my Basketball Wives piece next, and I'll be talking about British because I'm excited. And with anything that I talk is how I feel. It's not, I'm not like, yes, I will stand you and not necessarily stand, but I will ride you. Like, you gonna be somebody that I'm gonna talk about all the time. I'm gonna big you up. I'm gonna build you up. I'm gonna do a million things. Just watch and wait for it, because I am on my Marlo Hampton campaign right now, and I just added British Williams to my itinerary. So that means that it's going to be Marlo and British that you're going to be seeing from Coffee Tea or Labrish. And it's just the way it is, because you do me, I do you. That's how I believe in it. I believe that if somebody says, oh, I love that, I can say, oh, I love that too. I love Marlo Hampton. All right. This has been my review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta and what's been occurring. The people were in an uproar about Sanya because Sanya is giving it to Drew. She's supposed to give it to Drew. Drew not going with nothing. Drew can move one side and go sit down. In my opinion, because Drew not going with nothing. Drew not carrying no touch. She not carrying no swing. Her name not ring no bell. Alright, that's a she. I'm a done talk. I'm a say. I'm a done talk. I'm a talk. I'm a not take it back. Alright, that's a she. So big up Andy. Big up Sanya.